Hello everyone, welcome to Joyroute-jojo. Today we start a new playlist, new video series on Azure. We start from very basics of Azure and then to the advanced level. To have a systematic order for our video series, we will follow Microsoft official learning page and the order that Microsoft kept in their learning page. So we'll follow the same. So let us start from the syllabus that Microsoft officially given as per April 18, 2025. So till date, this is the latest syllabus that is given from Microsoft. We have five modules here. So these are the modules that are included in the syllabus. So this is the syllabus module given. Five modules are there. We start from manage Azure identities and governance. In that, Microsoft Entra uses and groups, creating user and group, manage user and group properties, manage license and in Microsoft Entra ID, manage external uses. So all that comes under manage Azure identities and governance. Then comes implement manage store, how to manage Azure storage account, configuring Azure files and Azure blob storage. All that will be considered in the implement and manage store. Then deploy and manage Azure compute resource, implement and manage virtual networking, monitor and maintain Azure resources. So these are the five modules and detailed syllabus is given in this page. So this is the particular page. You can search it in the Google and you can uh, get the syllabus from Google. All right. So to begin with, this is the official Microsoft learning page for the exam AC 104, Microsoft Azure Administrator. In this course, in the Microsoft official learning page, they have given six modules, including prerequisite for Azure Administrator. And these five modules are part of the syllabus. So we start from AC 104 prerequisites for Azure Administrator. So this is the module we start with, and these five are the other module that is part of the Azure exam. And these are the main module that part of the Azure exam, and this is just a preparation module. This is just to get an idea about Azure portal and all. And the actual course starts from here: manage identities and governance in Azure. Anyway, we start from AC 104 prerequisite for Azure Administrator. In this, we will try to understand different management option for Azure. In what all way we can manage Azure. We can manage it through Azure Portal, Azure PowerShell, Azure Command Line Interface, Azure Cloud Shell, and mobile app. So all this way we can manage Azure, and we will navigate to the Azure portal in detail. Then we will learn about the Azure portal dashboard, how you can create a dashboard, export the dashboard, edit the dashboard, all that we will see here. And we will summarize this session. So before we get into that, I would like to say you should have an Azure account, a free account. You will have to create Azure free account. I have already done a video how you can create a Azure free account. I shall add the link in the description. You can follow the same. Once if you create a Azure free account, you get 200 US dollar credit for 30 days. You can utilize this 200 US dollar and create the virtual machine, and you can create all the resources in this portal, and you can learn each and everything related to Azure account. At the same time, you get free services for some 12 months. So 30 days, 200 US dollar credit you get only for 30 days, use for any services. Then 12 months you get limited free services for all these options. And always you have free tier service, Azure App Services functions and DevOps Test Labs, you get it always. So this is what you get with free Azure account. Once you create a free Azure account, you can log in with that user ID and password. Then you log into this Azure portal. So this is the primary way to interact with Azure. Azure portal is the primary way to interact with Azure. Azure, as you know, is a cloud platform. It is a cloud platform that provides the compute, storage, and networking resources needed to build a cloud hosted applications. The Azure portal, which means this particular portal, let you to create and manage all your Azure resources. From this portal, you can manage all your Azure resources. For example, you can set up a new database, increase the compute power of a virtual machine, and monitor your monthly costs. So everything can be done from this Azure portal. So the question arises, is this the only management option for Azure? No, this is not only the management option. We have other management options. So what are they? Tools that are commonly used for day-to-day management and interactions are, first one is Azure portal, which is this particular one. Azure PowerShell and Azure command line interface. We have Azure Cloud Shell, Azure mobile apps. So these are the commonly used day-to-day management and interaction with Azure. Azure portal I have already introduced. Now let us see Azure PowerShell. Azure PowerShell let you to connect to your Azure subscription and manage resources. From your machine itself, from your laptop itself, you can connect to the Azure PowerShell. For that, what you have to do, you have to connect the Windows PowerShell, right click and run as administrator. So Azure PowerShell let you to connect to your Azure subscription and manage resources. So I have opened the Windows PowerShell here in my laptop, and let us just try to connect with Azure. To connect with Azure, this is the command connect AZ account. So I just type it over here. It gives me an error as it is not able to recognize AC connect AC account. This is because we haven't installed the module that is required for the Azure PowerShell. So first you will have to run this. You will have to install the module in your Windows PowerShell. So I'm going to do that. I copy the command from here and paste it over here and click on enter. So this will install the module that is required to connect your PowerShell with Azure account. So it may take some time to install the module in this PowerShell. Let's wait for that. Installation is in process. You could see installing packages required for AC. Now the installation got completed. Let us try to connect to the AC account. For that, this is the uh, command for that connect-AC account. I copy that and paste it here. It will prompt you to provide the credentials, user ID and password for the to connect with Azure account. Let's wait for that. So it is retrieving the subscription for the selection. Now I am connected with the account. Once I am connected with Azure account, we can start work with Azure portal. Let us use this command to get the Azure VM list. So I just use get-azvm. I copy this command and paste it in the PowerShell. Type again get-azvm. This will list all the Azure VM in this particular subscription. Yeah, I have got 3 virtual machines. One is in the name of DC1, the other one is an Exchange server, and I have one other virtual machine. So it is listing all the virtual machine that is part of this particular subscription. And if you want to know the resource group, you can use this command get Azure resource group. Click enter, so it will show me all the resource group in this particular subscription. Yes, now it has listed all the resource group in this particular Azure account. We have a resource group in the name of Parivahan group and one other in the Stellar New. These are the resource group I do have in my subscription. Great. So what I want to say is that Azure PowerShell let you to connect your Azure subscription and manage resources as you have seen right now. Now we come to the second option, which is nothing but Azure CLI. Azure CLI is nothing but is a command line program that connect to Azure and execute administrative commands on Azure resources. Same like PowerShell, you can connect our command line, our desktop command line with Azure. So I have opened the Windows command prompt. Now let us connect this command prompt with Azure. So that we have a command here. First of all, as usual, first of all, as we have done it for the Windows PowerShell, we have to install the module even in the, we have to install the Microsoft Azure CLI in the command prompt. So for this is the command for that. I copy and paste it here. So installation is something is going on over here. Names I provide yes. All right. Now it got completed. We have successfully installed the Azure CLI. Now let us try to, I just restarted the command prompt. I just closed and open it again. Now let us try to log into the Azure through command prompt. Let me just click on enter. This is the command for that AC-login. It will prompt to connect with the Azure account. Even through the command prompt, you can manage the Azure resources. You can create a virtual machine and management of resources. You can do it even from the command prompt. Now comes the next one, the third tool to interact with Azure, which is nothing but Azure Cloud Shell. Azure Cloud Shell is an interactive and authenticated browser accessible shell for managing Azure resources using scripting tools like Azure CLI or Azure PowerShell. The Cloud Shell also has many other developer tools available such as text editor, source control tools, databases, and more. From the in the Azure portal, here you could see the Azure Cloud Shell. This is the here you get the access to the Azure Cloud Shell. Yeah, it open welcome to the Azure Cloud Shell. You have Bash and PowerShell to manage it. This we will in detail we will see in the coming videos. Let's move on. The next option to interact with Azure is nothing but Azure mobile app. You can download the Azure mobile app from the Play Store or from the iOS store, and you can manage the Azure resources. The Microsoft Azure mobile apps allow you to access, manage, and monitor all your Azure account and resources from your iOS or Android phone tablet. Once installed, you can perform many common Azure tasks such as check the current status, critical metrics of your services, stay informed with notification and alerts about important health issues, review the latest Azure alert, start, stop, and restart the virtual machine on web apps, which means with your mobile phone, you can manage the Azure portal. Connect your Azure virtual machine. You can start, stop, and restart the virtual machine through Azure mobile app. So these are the common tools that is available for the day-to-day management and interaction with Azure. Great. Let's move on. Now let us navigate the portal. Let us have an idea if you are a beginner and seeing the Azure portal for the first time, how the Azure portal looks like. Let us see on that. So as you can see, when you log in, this will be your first page, the home page. Home page will look like this. Then comes the portal menu. In the portal's left-hand sidebar, in the portal menu, which is its different Azure services and resource type. So in the left-hand side, you could see the portal menu. Here you have, you can add the favorites over here. Here you can search for all the resources. Now Azure portal global controls. As you can see in the top, these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are the Azure portal global controls. The Azure portal displays several icons in the status bar at the top right side of the screen. As you can see here, in the top right side of the screen, you could see some symbols here, icons here. These icons are global control that are always available. No matter what services you are working with, each icon provides quick access to the useful functionality such as configuring settings, viewing notification about the portal activity. So here the first one is Cloud Shell. Then you have the notification. Notification will give you all the notification related to your Azure subscription. Then comes the settings. Here under settings, you have appearance option. Let me click on appearance. You can uh, set up the appearance, how the portal should look like. Have a fly out menu behavior, which means if you change it back, see, or you can use the docked one. Service menu behavior, collapse, expanded, theme again. You can use the auto or light or dark. So all the portal settings you can do it here. Language and region you can set it here. If you change the language, the portal also will change according to the language you select here. Great. So that is all about the settings. Next tab is supporting and troubleshooting. If we click on this, here you get how can we help. You get all the support from. This is where you can get help if you are experiencing a problem or need support. From here you can search for if you need some support, you can search it here. It will give you a lot of documents which you can refer it, or here itself you can raise a ticket with Microsoft and get the support according to your subscription plan. And the next tab is nothing but the feedback in. Great. And the last one is nothing but the profile settings related to your profile. Great. So this is an overall about the Azure portal. So ongoing, we will see more details about it. This video we start with Azure Marketplace. When we come to the Microsoft official landing page, it is written about Azure Marketplace is often where you start when creating a new resources in Azure. The marketplace let you to find, try, purchase and provision application and services from hundreds of leading service providers, all certified to run on Azure. So when you make it in a simple language, it is an online shop inside Azure. It's a big online shop inside Azure. It has got ready-made apps, services, and solution built by Microsoft and third-party companies. It do have the ready-made apps that is built by Microsoft itself and by some third-party companies. But all those applications are certified to run on Azure. So this is what Azure Marketplace meant by. So if you go to the portal and search with Marketplace, you can find this. Here you have a lot of products. So from the Marketplace, if you want to create some Red Hat Enterprise Linux machine for Microsoft Azure, you can come here to the Marketplace and you can click on Create. So it gives you all the OS versions here. So I just go with the Red Hat Enterprise Linux 10.0. I click on that and I want to create a virtual machine with Red Hat. It is just loading it. So that has taken me to the create virtual machine page. You can give the virtual machine name, region, and how you create a virtual machine in Azure in the same way. You can, from the marketplace, you can select the Red Hat image and you can create it. So Azure Marketplace is like a big online shop inside Azure. It has ready-made apps, services, and solution to built by Microsoft and other third-party companies. So this is what meant by Azure Marketplace. You can create, you can purchase the products from the Azure Marketplace and utilize it in Azure. That's it. So we move on to the next point, which is nothing but Azure Advisor. Azure Advisor is a free service built into Azure that provides recommendation on high availability, security, performance, operation excellence, and cost. Advisor analyze your deployed services and suggest way to improve your environment across those areas. So if you come to Azure portal, you can search for the Azure Advisor. So this is the Advisor. What does Azure Advisor do? When you open Azure Advisor, it scans your current Azure setup and gives you actionable suggestion based on best practices. These are categorized into cost, security, performance, reliability, and operation excellence. So even if you open the Azure Advisor in the portal, you could see the advices related to the cost. Here the score is 100%, but still there is one recommendation. And security, you are following all your security recommendation, but score is 9%. Reliability, then operation excellence, and performance. On these five criteria, advisor is giving recommendation to us. When it comes to cost, suggestion to save money. Here I do have one recommendation related to the cost. So if I click on that, it is giving me one recommendation. Let's see that what is that particular recommendation. So it is giving me one recommendation. Impact is medium, and the description is given here. Review disks that are not attached to a VM and evaluate if you still need the disk. So let me just click on the description. So this particular disk is not attached to any VM. I can delete this disk and save cost. So it is giving me a recommendation to save the cost. Actually, I have missed to delete this. So this is one recommendation. Now let's go back to the advisor. This is the recommendation related to the cost. Now let's see the recommendation related to the security. There is no recommendation related to security as of now. Then related to the reliability, it has given 4 recommendations related to the reliability. Create Azure Services Health Alert. Use NAT gateway for outbound connectivity. So it is giving some recommendation related to the reliability. Then for the operation excellence, there is no recommendation. Performance, no recommendation. So it is giving recommendation on 5 areas: cost, security, reliability, operation excellence, and performance. Cost will be very helpful for us. It is good to check your recommendation advisor recommendation related to the cost. Say in a simple language, Azure Advisor is like your personal cloud consultant. It is something like your personal cloud consultant. It checks your environment and gives suggestion to make more cost effective, secure, and reliable environment. For example, if you have a virtual machine running 24/7 but rarely used, Azure Advisor will recommend shutting it down and resizing it to save money. All right, so that is all about Azure Advisor. Let's move on. Now we move on to dashboard. In the Microsoft Azure page, under home, you could see dashboard. And this is the default dashboard. So what is this dashboard? How it helps us in Azure? So in the documentation, it is mentioned a dashboard is a customizable collection of user interface tiles displayed on Azure portal. You can add, remove position of tiles to create exact view you want, then save that view as dashboard. So let's make it simple. What is this Azure dashboard? It's a customizable interactive panel in Azure portal where you can view and monitor your Azure resources in one place. Or in other words, we can say Azure dashboard help you to keep an eye on what matters most. For example, if you give more importance to the cost, you can create your own dashboard and pin the important things like virtual machine cost and all. You can add it there and you can monitor it in one place. Why use dashboards? See important metrics at a glance, customize layout, pin your frequently used resources, share dashboard with your team, help in monitoring and quick decision making. And here you can create dashboard, you can edit it, you can share with your export it and share with your teammates, and you can so you do all these actions, you can clone it, so you can do all these actions. But the limitation is that it whatever you can create it, it depends upon the access you have. In this Microsoft account, I do have a limited access. So I will not be able to create a dashboard related to the cost. If you click on create, you can customize the dashboard as you want it. You can click on custom, and if you are focusing on cost, you can search for cost here and paste it here. In one shot, in one place, you can in dashboard itself you can view the cost of this month, and all that details you can customize it. Here I just add a resource group. The tile space you can arrange it. Then if you have to keep all resources, you can add all resources, or one some particular virtual machine. So accordingly, how you want it, what you want to monitor in your dashboard, that you can add it and you can save that. Oh, and I have given the name as my dashboard 5. And you can see different dashboard. I have created so many dashboards: dashboard 2, 3, 4, and 5. You can give names here, like instead of giving dashboard 5, I go here and edit it. I give it like RG view or something. You can give some meaningful name and you can save it. This is my default dashboard. I'm going to delete my dashboard 4. So what I do, I select that, and here you have the option to delete it. So you can delete the dashboard. So that is gone. If you search here, you don't get my dashboard 4. And you have the option to clone it. What does it mean by clone? Cloning dashboard, create an instant copy called clone of the dashboard name and open that copy in edit mode. Cloning is an easy way to create dashboard before sharing them. For example, my RG view, I want to share it with someone, I can clone it. So what happened, the same copy you can create it and you can share with your teammates. And even in the clone, if you want to make any changes, you can do the changes, you can add new tiles here and you can share that with your teammates. So that is what meant by cloning. So to conclude, dashboard is a customizable interactive panel in Azure portal where you can view and monitor your Azure resources in one place. It will help to you to keep an eye on what matters most. Now we enter into the actual course. Manage identities and governance in Azure. So first we will have to understand about Microsoft Entra ID. So this is the way module explain. This module explains Microsoft Entra ID. We will compare Microsoft Entra ID with Active Directory domain services, learn about Microsoft Entra ID P1, P2 plans, and explore Microsoft Entra domain services for managing domain joined devices and apps in the cloud. These chapters covers in this module. We start from examining Microsoft Entra ID, compare Microsoft Entra ID with the traditional Active Directory domain services, and we'll examine Microsoft Entra ID as a directory service for cloud apps. We'll compare the two plans which Microsoft provides us, like Microsoft Entra ID Premium Plan 1 and P2, Premium Plan 2 plans, and examine Microsoft Entra domain services, and we will summarize this module. Then in the next session, we will see create, configure, and manage identities. This we will cover in the next video. We will cover only this particular module in this video. So let us start from examining Microsoft Entra ID. Examine Microsoft Entra ID. A lot of text is given over here. What I can do, I can help you to understand this text in a simple way. in the first paragraph, it talks about the traditional Active Directory. We are familiar with, as a system administrator, you should be familiar with the traditional Active Directory. So traditional Active Directory domain service is a directory service that provides the method for storing directory data such as user accounts and passwords, and make this data available to network users, administrators, and other devices and services. It runs as a service on Windows Server, referred to as a domain controller. So this paragraph totally talks about the traditional Active Directory, which is this particular one. This is the traditional Active Directory. So the machine which holds the Active Directory, we know that it is called as domain controller. So this is domain controller. This machine is called a domain controller. And as a system administrator, it is your responsibility to manage the infrastructure of this particular machine. You are responsible for the replication. You are responsible for the uptime of this machine. As a system administrator, infrastructure, taking care of the infrastructure, it is your responsibility. So this is Active Directory, the traditional Active Directory. Here, these are called OUs and containers, and this is the domain name, and users are here, computers are in this particular container, and so this is the structure of a traditional domain controller. So what this paragraph says, Microsoft traditional domain controller, everything is your responsibility. Taking care of the infrastructure is your responsibility as a system administrator. But when it comes to Microsoft Entra ID, is a platform as a service offering operate as Microsoft managed directory service in the cloud. It is not part of the core infrastructure that customers own and manage. You cannot manage infrastructure. Infrastructure is managed by Microsoft. They will take care of the infrastructure, the updations, the changes, everything taken care by Microsoft. You don't have to worry about that. But when it comes to the traditional Microsoft, you will have to update the OS. You are responsible for the replications. You are responsible for everything in this particular traditional Active Directory. So that is the difference between the Microsoft Entra ID and traditional Active Directory. So for a better understanding, I have kept all those points in a simple way. I have made it very simple and put it in the Word file. So let us try to understand what are the difference between the traditional Active Directory and Microsoft Entra ID, so that we'll come to know more about Microsoft Entra ID. First of all, Microsoft Entra, it is a cloud-based identity service. It is completely on cloud. There is nothing in the on-premise. But when it comes to the traditional Active Directory, you know everything is in the on-premise directory service. It run in the Microsoft Azure. In the other case, it is run in the Windows Server. Internet accessible, required on-premise network. See, in the case of Entra ID, through internet you can access the Microsoft Entra ID. But when it comes to the traditional Active Directory, it requires VPN or the on-premise network. You have to be in that on-premise network, only then you will be able to access the Active Directory. When it comes to the Microsoft Entra ID, this support these auth2 OpenID connection SAML. But when it comes to the traditional Active Directory, it is only support Kerberos and NTLM. Single sign-on SSO for cloud apps. Here's SSO. Single sign-on is possible only for the on-premise applications. Then Azure AD join, Intune and integration. Device management, you have to either Azure AD join or Intune integration is required. Here it is domain joining. App access, it allow you to access the cloud apps. But when it comes to the traditional Active Directory, it is on-premise Windows apps. Conditional access, built-in policy based, not in built-in. User location, global cloud directory. Here local domain controller. Guest access, support business to business collaboration, no native guest support. Yeah, so these are the difference which is explained here, and I have put it in the Word file. Great. So let's move on. And the next paragraph is Microsoft Entra tenant. This big paragraph, I have put it in a simple language here. What is Microsoft Entra tenant? Microsoft Entra ID, formerly was known as Azure AD, is a multi-tenant. meaning it can host many separate organizations in one big system while keeping each one isolated and secure. So in an Entra ID or Entra tenant, you can have multi-tenant. It can host many separate organizations in one big system while keeping each one isolated and secure. Each tenant is like a separate directory or account for company using Microsoft Cloud services like Microsoft 365, Intune, and Azure. Even though one company, one tenant is most cases, technically a tenant just means one instance of Microsoft Entra ID. Okay, now when we talk about domain names in Entra ID, every tenant gets default name like your company name dot microsoft.com. That will be the default company name. Sorry, that will be the default domain name. You can also add your own custom domain like jadwinvilla.com or your company name.com to make it match your brand. Key points to remember is that tenant means isolated identity environment for the company. Multiple subscription can use the same tenant, but one subscription cannot link to multiple tenant. Tenant contains usage, group, app, setting for identity and access. All right, that's what it is discussed here. And in the next unit, it is comparing Microsoft Entra ID with Active Directory domain services. It discusses about the characteristics of ADDS, which is local Active Directory, and it discusses the characteristics of the Microsoft Entra ID. Active Directory domain services, traditional on-premise. It run on Windows Server, usually on-premise or virtual machine. We are well aware the local Active Directory is run on Windows Server. It can be a virtual machine or a physical machine. A run on Windows Server, usually on-premise or virtual machine, is a hierarchical directory that uses Kerberos authentication, LDAP for queries, and OU and GPO for managing users and computers. In a traditional Active Directory, you will Kerberos protocol for the authentication, LDAP for protocol for queries, and for the structured to manage computers and users, you use OU and GPO. Use DNS to find the domain controllers, support domain trust for managing multiple domains. That's all about the local Active Directory. But when it comes to the Microsoft Entra ID cloud-based modem, built with the cloud and internet-facing application. So this is the Entra ID from the Azure portal. You can get it, Microsoft Entra ID. This is how it looks like, the Microsoft Entra ID in Azure page. It is the overview of the Microsoft Entra ID. Here you could see the users, groups, external identities, administrative units, enterprise application, devices, app registration, and these are the menus part of Entra ID. So Microsoft Entra ID is cloud-based and modern, built for cloud and internet-facing application. Whoever is having internet access can log into the Azure portal and access Microsoft Entra ID with the credentials and multi-factor authentication. And whatever access is given to you, according to your access, you can view the Entra ID and work with Entra ID. It's a flat directory, no OU or GP. In the case of Entra ID, there is no users are listed here. There is no OU organization unit or any structure hierarchy for Microsoft Entra ID. But when it comes to the traditional one, it has got the OU, and inside the OU we structure it like according to the department or according to the location. We customize the OU. But when it comes to the Microsoft Entra ID, it is a flat directory, no OU or GPO in the case of Entra ID. Then it used modern protocol like SAML, OAuth, or OpenID Connect, no Kerberos or LDAPs for Microsoft Entra ID. Then use REST API over HTTP, HTTPS instead of LDAP. And it support federation with third-party services like Facebook or Google. Multi-tenant, many organizations can run separately and securely within Entra. So these are the features of Microsoft Entra ID. So that is what explained here. and it is comparing Microsoft Entra ID with Active Directory domain services. So what is Microsoft Entra ID for cloud apps? That is what explained here in this whole text. What is that? When you use Microsoft cloud services like Microsoft 365, Azure, Intune, or security services, you need a way to manage user login and permissions. So Microsoft has got a lot of services, productivity services, admin. So it has got a n number of services. So when you manage those services, you should have a way to log into that, manage user login and permissions. So that is where Microsoft Entra ID comes in. In other words, Microsoft Entra ID will help you to manage users, its login and its permissions. Consider there is a help desk user who has recently joined, and he only reset the password for the, or he does only the very basic things in the organization. For that user, you cannot give the global admin privilege, which can manage each and everything in the 365 or Azure environment. So what you have to do, you have to limit the permissions. So there should be a mechanism to do that. Microsoft Entra ID will help you for that. Instead of creating separate directory for each service, one Entra ID can be used for all Microsoft cloud apps. So if you have multiple cloud apps, you cannot have a separate directory for each services. Microsoft Entra ID will help you to have one particular directory for each services. This makes it is easier for users and admins, one identity, one login, which means single sign-on. With single sign-on, you can log into the all the Microsoft services. So that is what the advantage of Entra ID for cloud apps. Key benefits. One identity system works across all Microsoft cloud services, which we discussed just now. User can log in with other accounts too, like Facebook, Google, using Entra ID. Developers can connect their custom apps to Entra ID for secure login. So these are the benefits of Entra ID for cloud apps. Then for something related to developers, then something for the developers can use tool like Azure Portal and Visual Studio to easily add Microsoft Entra login to their websites or applications, apps. So this is helpful for the developers. These are mentioned in this entire text. Hope this is clear to you. Now we move to the next point. We are comparing Microsoft Entra ID Plan 1 and Plan 2. What all advantages we have having Microsoft Entra ID P1, and what all advantages we have with the Plan 2. This is what described here. Again, I have put it in a simplest way in this way document. Let us discuss this. What are P1 and P2 plans? Microsoft Entra ID has two premium plans. First one is Premium 1 and second one is Premium 2. They offer more advanced features than the free of Office 365 version, but they cost extra. Apart from this, there is one more plan which is free, but it doesn't have much features. The free, as always, may not have much features. But when it comes to Premium 1 and Premium 2, they offer more advanced feature. You can buy them separately. These plans you can buy them separately, or as part of Microsoft Enterprise Mobility and Security, you can purchase this. So let us see the features in Plan 1, Premium 1. The first feature of having P1 is that self-service group management. User can create and manage their own groups. Advanced security reports, multi-factor authentication, which is a modern authentication. Then Microsoft Identity Manager, 99.9% uptime guarantee. Then self-service password reset, cloud app discovery, conditional access, Entra Connect Health. All these are the features of Plan 1. We will be seeing all these in detail in the coming video. So this is just a beginning. So I am not going to explain it in detail. When it comes to the Plan 2, everything in Plan 1, you get it with Plan 2, plus you get Microsoft Entra ID protection. automatically detect and respond risky sign-in and accounts. So if some user log in from a infrequent location or some from a malicious device, Microsoft automatically detect. If you have the plan 2, it automatically detect and respond to the risky sign-ins and accounts. The extra feature we get with the Premium 2 is that privileged identity management, which is in PIM, which is in short we call PIM, privileged identity management, manage and secure admin account with the time limited access and approval workflows. For example, if a new user or somebody needs an access to some virtual machine for some particular time, so you can give him for 1 week, one access to that virtual machine only for 1 week. So privilege identity management with the time limited access. Only for 1 month I am giving you access to that virtual machine, or for one day I am giving access to this. For example, if some audit person has come and access and asked for some access for 24 hours, so we give access to him for only for 24 hours uh, to certain resources. That feature we get it only with Plan 2, Premium 2. So that's all about this particular module. We understanding the Microsoft Entra ID. So in this video, hope we got some idea about Microsoft Entra ID. What is the how it differ from the traditional local Active Directory, and what all service, what is the difference between Entra ID P1 and P2. All that we discussed in this video. And then the coming video we will create, configure and manage identity. We will be creating the uses and we'll see assign license and all that we will see in the coming video. In this video we are taking the next step. We are creating uses in Entra ID, organizing them into a group and assigning Microsoft 365 license in the right way. When we come to the Microsoft official documentation, we are in the second module, AC 104. In fact, this is the first module in the main course. This is the first module in the syllabus. AC 104, manage identity and governance in Azure. In this particular module, we have already understand about the Microsoft Entra ID in our previous video. Now in this video, we are going to create, configure and manage identities. We will be learning create, configure and manage uses, create, configure and manage groups, manage license, explore custom security, attributes and automatic provisioning. What are the prerequisites required for this? You should have a basic understanding about identity management. You should have a basic understanding about the local Active Directory, how the uses are created. That will help you over here. Then some experience with Azure Active Directory, experience with Zero Trust helpful. So these experience, if you have, it will be easy for you to understand Microsoft Entra ID in a better way. All right. So when we click on next, create, configure and manage users. This is what we are going to do it right now. We will be practically creating user, we'll be configuring it and we'll show how to manage that. Every user who need access Azure resources need an Azure user account. We all know that. Every user who needs access to Azure, whoever wants access to the Azure resources, need an Azure user account. A user account contains all information need to authorize the user during the sign-on process. One authenticated Microsoft Entra ID built access token to authorize the user and determine what resources they can access, what they can do with those resources. So we will be giving permission to that user. You provide permission to the user to do certain tasks in Azure. So that permission management you will be able to do through Entra ID. Let us get into the practical view usage. So here I am in the Azure portal. This is the Azure portal and I select Microsoft Entra ID from this. Here this is the Entra ID and this is the overview of the Entra ID. And if you click on manage and users and all users, it lists all the users in the Entra ID. If you are logging to the first time and you have just created your tenant and you have logged into the first time, you won't see any usage. apart from the default uses. Here you could see a lot of uses I have created here. There are three types of uses: cloud identities, directory sync identities, and guest uses. There are three types of uses, or in other words, I can say Microsoft Entra ID define uses in three ways. First one, cloud identities. These uses exist only in Microsoft Entra ID, which means these uses are cloud-based uses. It's not synced from any local Active Directory. If you have a user in your local Active Directory and through Azure AD Connect or Entra, nowadays it's called Entra ID Connect, you sync that usage to, you can sync those uses to Entra ID. So those uses are called directory synced identities. These uses exist in on-premise Active Directory. A synchronization activity that occurs through Microsoft Entra connects bring these uses into Azure. So these uses are called directory synced identities. Cloud identities means the user are created in cloud itself, which means in the portal we are from the clicking on new user, we are creating the user here itself. So it is not synced from on-premise. Those uses are called cloud identities. Then the uses that are in the local Active Directory and we sync those uses through Microsoft Entra Connect to Entra ID, those uses are called directory synced identities. Then we have guest uses, which means these uses exist outside Azure. In your organization, you invite your partners as a guest uses in your account. You have an option to invite external users. Here you can invite your partners, your vendors. So all that who need, you can invite those users to Entra ID, and you can permit some particular permission. You can allocate certain particular permission to those users. We will see that all that in details. So whatever user you create here in Entra ID, that will be synced with Microsoft 365 Admin Center also. All these portals like Microsoft 365 Admin Center, Azure, Entra ID, Intune, all these are interconnected. All these portals are not independent portals. These are interconnected. Whatever you create in Entra ID in the Azure portal, the same will be reflected here. And it depends upon the subscription you have and the license you have. If you create a user in Entra ID, those user will be reflected in Microsoft 365 Admin Center, Intune portal, and security, Defender portal, everywhere it will be reflected. So all these portals are interconnected. I would like to show you some sync status. Here you could see a cloud symbol over here, which means Abir, this particular user called Abir, is a cloud user. The cloud symbol status shows that this user is a cloud user. Here you could see some server sign, some on-premise sign, which means this user synced from the on-premise, synced from the local Active Directory through Azure AD Connect or Entra ID Connect, and it is synced to the cloud. So that is what this symbol shows here. Even here you could see the user type on-premise synced enabled. Yes, for the AVD user 2, it is synced from on-premise. But when it comes to Google Play, this user is not synced from the on-premise. This is a cloud user. And here, where is Abir? We'll search. Yeah, Abir. Yeah. As you can see, the Abir, this user is not synced from the on-premise. This is a cloud user. So in this way, you can identify whether this user is a cloud user or on-premise user. Then here user type, you could see member. If it is a guest user, it will show as guest. This particular user, Jojo, this is my mail ID, jojo.polty@gmail.com. So this user is a guest user. I have invited this user to our environment. It shows guest here. All right, let us create a user. We will keep the same name for the user. I'm going to create a new user. Click on this plus symbol, new user, create a new user. We will keep the same name, but it's a user principal name. We will give Chris G. So mail nickname, it is already taken. Display name, we keep as Chris space green. If you tick on auto generated password, it will give you a password automatically. I'm unchecking that and giving my own password. We come to the properties. Here you can give the first name and the last name. First name I select as Chris and last name as Green. Where user type, is it as a member or guest? It's a member. And you can give all the details about this particular user. His job information, job title is a system admin, company name, department, employee ID, all those details you can provide here. Contact information about this user, email ID, then age group, settings, all that you can give it here. Then comes assignment. If you want to add this user to a group now itself, you can add it, or you can add this user to any group. Review and create. So I'm going to review and create it. Password, it does not take the password which I provide. All right, I'm going to create this user. Let me create it. So we have successfully created the user right now. So if you check it out, you could see the new user name, Chris. Yeah, Chris Green. You could see here. On-premise sync enabled? No, this is a cloud-based user. And he is a member. Great. In our last video, we have seen about creation of user in Entra ID and different type of users in Entra ID. All that we have seen in the last video. This video, we will be allocating license to that user and we'll be creating groups and allocating license to the groups. All that we will be seeing in this video. All right, let's proceed. User will be available in all uses. Let us search for Chris Green. The user is available here. What I'm going to do, I'm going to allocate license for this Chris Green. For that, I go to the Microsoft 365 admin center. Admin.microsoft.com is the portal. https://admin.microsoft.com. In admin.microsoft.com, under users, active users, you search for the user you have created. You could see Chris Green, and license is unlicensed, and sync status is on cloud. So I'm going to click on that Chris Green license and app, and here I can allocate the license and save changes. So in this way, you can allocate a license to a user. Now, as per the documentation, we are going to create a security group in Microsoft Entra ID and assign license to that group. Let us practically do that. For that, again, let's go to the Entra Admin Center. As I told you before, you can get the Entra Admin Center even from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Here, this is the mother portal for all the Microsoft 365 activities. So you get linked to the all other admin centers from Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Here you have Admin Center tab itself is there. Security is nothing but all the security defender, everything comes under this. Microsoft Intune, identity. This is Microsoft Entra ID portal. Exchange related activities, you have Exchange Admin Center, SharePoint Admin Center, Teams, Power Platform. All the admin centers you can manage. You can get the link from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. So we want identity, which is Microsoft Entra ID Admin Center. I click on that. As it's given in the document, we follow the same to create a security group. We will give the name to marketing and we'll assign this Chris Green, the newly created user Chris Green, to marketing group. So I'm in the Microsoft Entra Admin Center. The Entra Admin Center, under identity, you have users and groups. Here we select all groups. So it lists all the groups in our organization, in our tenant. Now we are going to create a new group. To create a new group, on the top you could see the symbol. Let me click on new group, and we give the same, we follow the same values here. We select security group. instead of Microsoft 365 group. We have two groups available here, security and Microsoft 365. What is the difference between security and security group and Microsoft 365 group? We will understand that before we create it. So security group purpose is used for access control, to give the permissions, assign permission to resources. We normally create security group. But when in the case of Microsoft 365 group, it is for collaboration. Main use provide users with a shared mailbox, shared calendar, shared point site, and it is some kind of mail enabled uses. So that is the main difference between security group and Microsoft 365 group. The purpose is used for access control, to assign permission to the resources. We normally create security group. So here I select the security group. Group name I select as given here, marketing. I paste it over here. Group description, I just say the same thing. Then manage membership type, it is assigned. And I select the member. The newly created user will be added to this group. Chris Green, I have added to him to this group. Let me select and create it. Successfully created the group. So now we have successfully created the group. If you refresh it, you could see the group in the name of marketing. Yeah, this is the group which we have created just now. Now how we can allocate license to this group? That's what discussed here. So if you click on this group, marketing, under manage, if you select the license, you could see no license assignment found. To this group, to this security group, no license is allocated. So how we can allocate the license? That's what explained here. For that, we have to go to the Microsoft 365 Admin Center. Under billing, expand billing, click on licenses. Here it will list whatever license you have purchased. In my case, I have purchased Microsoft 365 Business Premium license and only one license is left out. So I click on that particular license and you have option to allocate license to users and groups. I am going to allocate the license to the group. I click on assign license and we search for that group which we created just now, marketing, and assign it. You assign license to marketing, to the marketing group. I have assigned the license. Now if you come back to the same portal and refresh it, it shows that Microsoft 365 premium license is allocated to this group. Enabled services are 52, state is queued, it is still in the queued state. So that is what assign license to a group. I have issue with the license. Almost all the license is allocated now, so I will just show you how you can unallocate the license. Again, come to the active users, click on the user, licenses and app, and tick the license, save changes. Great. You have removed the license for the user. Restore and remove recently deleted user from Microsoft Entra ID. Now we will delete a user and we will try to restore that user from Entra ID. How to do that we will see right now. Before doing that, you should understand one thing. Once you delete a user, the account remains suspended state for 30 days. During the 30 days window, a user account can be restored. If you delete a user from the Entra admin center, I'm going to delete this user, Abir Shirasi, or newly created user, Chris Green. I'm going to delete this user. Once if I click on delete, the user has been deleted from the list. If you refresh it, you won't see Chris Green on the users list, and it will be available in the deleted users. See, in the deleted user, you can see Chris Green. So what this documentation says, if you delete a user, after you delete a user, the account remains suspended state for 30 days. For 30 days, it will be available in the suspended state on deleted users. Then during that 30 days window, the user accounts can be restored along with all its properties. Within 30 days, if I am restoring, I will be able to restore that user. Here you have the option to restore that user, or you have delete permanently. If you delete permanently, what will happen? Neither you nor Microsoft customer support, neither you nor Microsoft customer support can restore a permanently deleted user. Once if you permanently delete, or after 30 days, it will automatically will be deleted permanently. If that happens, neither you nor Microsoft customer support can restore a permanently deleted user. I'm going to restore this user. Select that particular user and click on restore user. Click OK. So it will come back to the all users. Restoration is going on. If you come back to all users and search for Chris, it will be listed here. You can see here. So this way you can delete a user, restore a user, and you have seen what happens if you delete a user. All that we have seen. So to conduct this activity, to delete the user, restore the user, what access is required? Either you should be the global administrator. Global administrator can do almost all the tasks in the Microsoft 365 and Azure environment. Then partner tier 1 support, partner tier 2 support, or user administrator, these roles are required to restore or delete the user and restore the user. About the group in detail right now. Here we will create, configure and manage group in bit more detail. Why we required groups? What is the advantage of creating groups? Let us discuss that first. Let's try to understand with some examples. In your organization, your company has got an IT help desk. In your IT help desk, there are 15 people, and 5 are having very basic knowledge about Microsoft 365 and Azure. They are doing the L1 support in the IT, and there are 10 people who is having advanced knowledge, and they work as an L2 support in your organization for in the IT department, and you have experts there as L3 support, and altogether you have 15 people. So what you can do, in the help desk team, you can create a help desk L1 support team. You can create a group for the L1 support, and you can give minimum permission to that particular group, who can create a user and allocate license and reset the password for the other employees. So that help desk team, L1 team, you can create a group in the name of help desk L1, and you assign the minimum permission to L1 team, so that whoever joins newly into your organization, this L1 team can create the user, and they can assign license to the newly joined user, and they can reset the password for newly joined user. When it comes to the next level, L2 support, they have got more knowledge about Microsoft 365 and Azure portal. So they may be creating the virtual machine in Azure portal. They may be maintaining the virtual machine. So we give little more permission. We give more permission to L2 group. And when it comes to L3 group, they are the experts in the about Microsoft 365 and Azure. So you can, even if you can give global admin privilege if required, or exchange administrator, or according to the area that they manage, you can give all the high level management permission, high level permission to L3 group. So this way you can allocate the permission and manage the members. The advantage of having a group is that assign a set of access permission to all the members of the group, instead of having to provide right one by one. It is very difficult to give access. If one employee leave from L1 team, what you can do, you can as you have given the permission to the group, you can remove this person from that group and add the other person to that group. So it is easy to manage it. And group allow us to define the security boundary, and then add and remove specific uses and grant access with the minimum amount of effort. If it is 5-10 user, it is easy to manage. When it comes to 100 and 500, or if it is a very large organization, then it is very difficult to manage it. Minimize the effort. Groups will help us for that. Microsoft Entra ID allow you to define two different types of group. Mainly there are two different types of group. One is security group and otherwise Microsoft 365 group. One is security group and the second one is Microsoft 365 group. I have already discussed the difference between the security group and Microsoft 365 group. Security group, it is used for access control. Main use cases are assign permission to the resources, SharePoint, OneDrive, Team. To assign permissions, we normally use security group. These are not mail enabled use. No shared mailbox or collaboration features are available for security group. And when it comes to the licensing, no special licensing is required for the security group. Can be assigned manually or dynamic. Admin used for group-based licensing, conditional access targeting, and role-based access control. These are available use for admin. But when it comes to the Microsoft 365 group, it is normally created for the collaboration. Main use cases are provide users with a shared mailbox, shared calendar, SharePoint site, Planner, OneNote, Teams, and these are mail enabled uses. Include shared mailbox. Then it required licensing, requires a Microsoft 365 license, business premium or E3, E5. That those licenses are required. 65 group. And again, my membership can be assigned manually or dynamic. Admin use for team collaboration, email distribution, resource sharing, and creating teams. So that is the difference between the security group and Microsoft 365 group. I repeat, 365 group, most common type of groups are used to manage member and computer access to share resources for the group user. But when it comes to Microsoft 365 groups, it is provide collaboration opportunity by giving members access to the shared mailbox, calendar, file, SharePoint, site, and more. So that those are the main difference between security group and Microsoft 365 group. The second characteristics of a group that we need to understand is membership type. There are two type of membership. You can add members in a two-way to both this group, to security group and Microsoft 365 group. You can add members in two-way. First one is assigned. Directly you are giving the membership. For example, while we created the group, while we create a group, you can assign these people should be member of this group. You are manually assigning the members to that group. That is one method. That is called assign. Members are added, maintained manually. You are manually adding all these people into that group. The second option to add membership type is dynamic. Members are added based on rules, creating some dynamic group. The membership is generated by formula each time the group is used. A dynamic group is include any recipient in Active Directory with attributes value that match its filter. For example, I'm creating a user and I'm giving the department to that user as marketing. So if you create this formula, what happens? All the users that is created the department as marketing, that will be automatically added to that particular group. So that is what dynamic groups. These are controlled by certain rules. Members are added based on rules. So while creating a dynamic group, you mention the property, you mention the rule, and according to the rule, automatically this will be added to that particular group. That are the two different membership type. One is assigned, the other one is dynamic. In the documentation next is creating a Microsoft 365 group. Let's create it. Let's see how we can create it. To create a group, we have to go to the Microsoft Entra Admin Center, all groups. This is the way how we have created the security group. The same way we are going to create a Microsoft 365 group. Come to Microsoft Entra Admin Center, https://entra.microsoft.com. That is the portal URL. Or from the 365 admin center, you can select identity. That also will take you to this particular page. And under identity, all groups, it will list all the groups, and here you have the option to create a new group. I click on that. And this time we are going to select Microsoft 365 group, and we have to name the group Northwest Sale. We copy and paste the same name here. So group email address, this is automatically taken. If you want to make any changes, you can do it here. Group description, I just copy the same Northwest Sale. And membership type, here you have the option for assigned and dynamic user. We select it assign. As the membership type, we select as assign. Great. Then we have to select the users. I'm going to select an owner to this group. I select Abir as a owner to this group, and a member of this group as Abir Ali. These people I add as a member of this group, and I am going to create this group. So group has successfully created. So future search for North, North Wales. You could see the group here. Group type is Microsoft 365 use group, and it is assigned. This is the email ID for the group. Great. All right. So this way you can create a Microsoft 365 group. Now we are going to discuss about the devices in Entra ID. Devices, you can list your devices in the Microsoft Entra Admin Center. Under Identity, you have devices. Here you get the overview of the devices and all devices. This will list all the devices in your tenant. So these are the devices part of my tenant. And here under join type, you could see three different type. One is Microsoft Entra registered. The other one is Microsoft Entra join. And one more type, Microsoft Entra hybrid joined. Microsoft Entra hybrid join. So that you could see three type of devices in my tenant. One is Microsoft Entra registered, Entra joined, and hybrid join. What is the difference between this? Why we need these three type of devices? What it is? This is what we are going to see in this session. These days, many people use their own phones, tablets, or laptops to do the office works. This is called BYOD, bring your own devices. Because of this, IT team have two main responsibilities. First one, make work easy for everyone. They want to help, which means IT team want to help employees to work from anywhere, at any time, at any device they like. Second responsibility of the IT team is that keep everything safe. At the same time, they must make sure that the company data and systems are protected from the hackers, virus, and other risks. So basically, it has become the IT team responsibility to allow the users to work from anywhere, from any device, at any time, by securing the company data and all the other risks. So this is possible by joining the devices to the Entra ID, and we and the users will be uh, and the admin will be securing the device, securing the company data by using the help of Microsoft Intune and Entra ID. So this is what we are discussing now. We start with Microsoft Entra registered. Microsoft Entra registered devices. As this is the first one, we are going to discuss Microsoft Entra registered devices. The goal of Microsoft Entra registered devices is to provide users with support of bring your own devices and mobile device scenarios. In this scenario, a user can access your organization Microsoft Entra ID controlled resources using a personal device. For example, you have your Android phone. Through the Android phone, you want to access the company email. So it is the administrator responsibility that the company data should not be leaked. It should be secured. So the company, your mobile Android device should be enrolled to Intune. So definition of Entra registered is nothing but registered to Microsoft Entra ID without requiring organizational account to sign into the device. You will be signing into your device with your, consider you have a laptop, you will be signing with your local user ID and password to the machine. But at the same time, when you are access to the resource in the organization can be further limited based on the Microsoft Entra account. Conditional access policies apply to the device identity. Consider you have a Windows 10 laptop, mobile, we keep it aside. We talk about the Windows 10 laptop. Consider you are using a Windows 11 laptop. You log into the machine as with your local ID and password. You can do all the things, whatever you do it in the laptop. But when it comes to accessing the resources in your organization, when you are trying to access the email or the virtual machine that is allocated to you in Azure portal, so when you access that, it can be further limited based on the Entra account, and conditional access policies apply to that device identity. All these videos are available in my channel. You can watch it. And scenarios for registered devices, I have already explained in which scenario we have to use Microsoft Entra registered. You have your own laptop, you don't want to join that machine to the domain or to the Entra ID, but at the same time you want to access the your organization email or some other or any other resources. In such scenario, you can register your device. So that is the scenario of registering devices. We have discussed about Microsoft Entra registered devices. We talk about bring your own devices and all that area we have covered. Now we come with Microsoft Entra joint devices. So what is this Microsoft Entra joint devices? Microsoft Entra join is intended for the organization that want to be cloud first or cloud only. If you are intended to work only on cloud or cloud you are giving the first preference, then you can choose Microsoft Entra joint devices. Any organization can deploy Microsoft Entra joint devices no matter the size or industry. Even if it is a very small industry or a big industry or whatever industry you are in, you can deploy Microsoft Entra joint devices. So what are the scenarios where Microsoft Entra join comes in picture? Microsoft Entra join is primarily intended for organizations that do not have on-premises Windows Server or Active Directory infrastructure. We are well familiar with the local Active Directory and the domain controller and that infrastructure. We are very familiar with that. Wherever this local directory or Windows Server Active Directory infrastructure is not there, it is primarily intended. In such premises, Entra join will be applicable. Or if you want to manage your MDM devices through Intune, then you can use Entra join devices. Or your users primarily need to access Microsoft 365 or other some SaaS applications integrated with Microsoft Entra ID. In such scenario, you can use Entra join. So basically, where on-premise itself is not there, then Entra join will be more suitable. Wherever on-premise infrastructure, on-premise Active Directory and domain controller, that infrastructure wherever it is not there, in such scenario, Entra join will be more suitable and applicable. The third type of device registration is nothing but hybrid Microsoft Entra join devices. We are well aware of the local Active Directory and the setup of the local Active Directory. Here we have the computers and the departments, domain controllers, users, resource mailbox, and we can manage the endpoints through group policy or configuration manager. So this is normally the infrastructure of a local Active Directory. So what is the definition of Microsoft Entra joint devices? Is nothing but joined to on-premise ID and Microsoft Entra ID requiring organization account to sign into the devices. Joined to an on-premise ID and Microsoft Entra ID. So both is required in your organization. You require the local Active Directory, which is on-premise ID, and at the same time Microsoft Entra ID requiring organizational account to sign into the devices. In such scenario, you can use hybrid Microsoft Entra joint devices. It is primary audience suitable for hybrid organization with existing on-premise AD infrastructure. device ownership is with the organization. Now let us see how you can implement this hybrid setup. For that, we normally use Microsoft Entra Connect. You can create another virtual machine or any physical server. We can set up another machine to install Microsoft Entra Connect. This is the link where you can download the Microsoft Entra Connect application. Nowadays, it is not applicable. It is not allowed to download from internet. Even if you download this, you won't get the installation file. Instead of that, you will be getting a PDF file which is asking you to download it from your tenant. So from last month onwards, you will not be able to download Microsoft Entra Connect from internet. You will have to log in internet in the sense from the public site. You will have to go to your tenant and your Microsoft Entra admin center, come to hybrid management. Down to that, we have Microsoft Entra Connect. Here you can get connecting and you can download the latest Entra Connect sync. From here, you can download the Microsoft Entra Connect. See, Microsoft Entra Connect is the application that connect your on-premise Active Directory, which is this local Active Directory, with the cloud one, which is the Entra ID. You will have to set up a separate virtual machine for that. You set according to your organization. If your organization is very small, you can install even in the domain control itself, but it is not recommended. Even if it is a very small infrastructure also, you will have to install a separate virtual machine for that, virtual machine or physical machine. Once that machine is ready, you will have to download the Entra ID Connect from the tenant. Earlier it was available in the public site. Now you will have to download from your Entra admin center itself. Once you download that, you will have to install that and configure it. While configuring, you are informing which all OU to be synced with the cloud. While the configuration, you can we can mention it which all OUs to be synced with cloud. If you are selecting the computers OU, the container, all the machines that is part of these computers will be synced to cloud, and it will show as hybrid Entra connected devices. If you come here to the devices overview, all devices, here you could see Microsoft Entra hybrid joint devices. These devices are synced from the on-premise Active Directory through Entra ID Connect. So that was all about hybrid Microsoft Entra joint devices. I have already done a detailed video on how to install Microsoft Entra Connect and configure it. The video is available in my channel. I shall add it in the description. Please do watch if you have to get more idea about Microsoft Entra Connect, how it works, how it to be configured. All that I have very clearly explained in that video. Today, let's discuss about Azure AD Connect. Now it's called Entra ID Connect. In this video, we learn how to install and configure Azure AD Connect, and I can practically show how to sync users' computers to Azure AD. We will also discuss the errors that may occur during the installation and configuration. This particular video is intended for a beginner who doesn't have any idea about what is Azure AD Connect, how to configure it, why we required Azure AD Connect. So this video is for a beginner. If you have an idea about what is Azure AD Connect, how it works, what all errors you may get it, how to configure. So all those concepts, if you know it, you no need to watch this video. Please skip this. If you are a fresher, you want to know what Azure AD Connect, how it works, then you can watch this video. So because I'm talking very basics about Azure AD Connect. So if you have an idea about it, you may feel that it may not suit to you. All right. So let's start from the very beginning. What is Azure AD Connect? So as a definition, what is Azure AD Connect? You can read these lines. This is a definition which I got it from the Google or from the Copilot. I can just read it for you, which is Azure AD Connect is a Microsoft tool designed to integrate your on-premise Active Directory, that means your local Active Directory, with Azure Active Directory. Don't worry, I can explain you what exactly it works. I can show you with some diagrams and some pictures, so you will have an idea even if you do not get after reading this definition. Okay, all right. Let's move on. Why we required Azure AD Connect? So we required Azure AD Connect for unified identity management. Second one, single sign-on. This is your on-premise setup. You have got a domain controller, plenty of uses, computers, and you have got a lot of servers here. And through Azure AD Connect, what exactly you do, you connect your users and computers to your Azure AD, to your cloud, your M365, your M365 account or tenant. What exactly you do through Azure AD Connect, you connect your local users and computers to Microsoft 365 account and tenant. So Azure AD Connect do this job for you. All right. Now comes hybrid environment support. Let us consider this example. We have an on-premise and we have three users. So only the first two users have to sync with Microsoft 365 tenant. All the third user, Meena, she wants to stay back. This is a critical user. She is handling some critical data, and that is some confidential data. We should not sync with the cloud. If you have a scenario in that way, you can only sync these two users to cloud, and you can keep Meena still work on premise. So that is what meant by hybrid environment support, which means some of the users you can keep it in on-premise itself. They have no synchronization with the cloud, Microsoft 365 account or tenant, and some users sync with 365 account. So that is what meant by hybrid environment support. And password synchronization and write back. It can synchronize the password change from the Azure AD back to on-premise AD, ensuring the consistency across both environments. Which means if you change a password in the local Active Directory, that will reflect here in the cloud. And if you make the changes in the cloud, that will reflect that. Password write back will reflect that back to the local Active Directory. That is what meant by password synchronization and write back. And health monitoring is the fifth advantages of having Azure AD Connect in an environment. All right, so this is the reason why we required Azure AD Connect in an environment. Hope you have got an idea about what Azure AD Connect, how it works. Let's move on. All right, now let's learn how to install Azure AD Connect. Before that, let me introduce my environment, my infrastructure to you. I have created an AD server and created a separate OU for Microsoft 365 users sync, and I have created two users here. And we are going to sync this particular OU to cloud, to Microsoft 365 account or Azure AD. It is not recommended in a production environment. It is not recommended to sync all the OUs in one shot to Azure AD. That will have a lot of issues. That create a lot of issues. So the best practice is that select the particular OU that has to sync with Azure AD. So here I have created a separate OU that has to sync with Azure AD. I have an Azure AD here, and we have these many uses. We will sync these uses now, like John, Paul, and Joseph. These two uses we will sync from this Azure AD Connect. So first thing, we have to install Azure AD Connect. To install that, let's go to any edge, open any edge, and just search for Azure AD Connect to download. Click on the first link that shows here. Here we'll get the Microsoft Entra Connect installation file. You could see the version 2.3.20.0. This is the latest version. It is updated on 15th 7 2024, which means July 15th it is updated. So I'm going to download this. It's downloaded now. So let us install it now. Let me just right click and click on install. Let me minimize all these. Yeah. All right. So we are in the installation page now. Welcome to Azure AD Connect. So I agree. Click on continue. You can use either expert settings or customize. I always recommend to use customize. Here you can skip all this if you want to specify the custom installation location, and use an existing SQL server. So this is not required normally in any environment, not even in the production environment. So you can skip all this and you can start installation. The installation is in progress. All right. All right. So we have, all right. So now user sign in. We have password hash synchronization. What exactly is password hash synchronization? This option allow your users to sign in to the cloud using the same password that they use in on-premise. So whatever password you use in the on-premise, password hash will allow you to use the same password in the cloud. Password hash synchronization does not store or send clear text passwords. See, it doesn't actually store your password. If you, for example, your password is something like password at 123, that is the password you use in the local Active Directory. In the cloud, it does not save that password exactly. Instead of that, it create a hash value there in the cloud, and it save as a hash value in the cloud. So if someone hacking your cloud environment, so they will get only that hash value. They will not come to know what is your exact password. So this is what the password hash synchronization does. For more example, we can just ask to Copilot what is synchronization. Okay, right? Because these concepts are very important to understand. And if you are, sometimes you may have to explain this with your client why how secure Azure AD Connect in your environment. So these are the points which you can deliver to your customer. All right. So what the Copilot says, password hash is a feature Azure AD Connect that help to synchronize a hash of user password from an on-premise AD to your Azure AD. How it works: when a user change their password in the on-premise AD, Azure AD can synchronize a hash of this password to the Azure AD. This is what I was trying to explain that. So when a user changes password, the cloud will not, in the cloud environment, it will not store your password. Instead of that, it will create a hash value there. So this hash of one-way mathematical representation of the password, ensuring the actual password is never exposed. That is what you should understand. This hash is a one-way mathematical representation of the password, ensuring that the actual password is never exposed. Your actual password is not exposed in the cloud. Password will be only on your on-premise environment. It will not get synced to your cloud. Do more research on it and understand how it works. I have given a basic idea how the password hash synchronization works. All right. So let's proceed. Sorry. Let's click on next. Here, what you have to give, you will have to give your global administrator, which means your Microsoft 365 global admin user ID and password you'll have to give here. So I am providing that here. I think this is my password. Let me just click next. Give your enterprise admin. I'm just giving that. Okay, I think this is my enterprise admin user ID and password. Yeah, it is taken. All right, let me click on next. So I have given my global admin privilege and my enterprise admin. UPN suffix will not match here in my case because I do have a different domain name in Azure AD. So that will not match for me. So I just click on continue without matching all UPN suffixes to verify domain. Let me click on next. All right. Here, this step is very important because if we select sync all domains and OU, what will happen? The entire users and computers that will get synced with your cloud, with your Azure AD. So what you have to do, you will have to select sync selected domains and OUs and select which OU has to be synced. So in this case, I'm selecting all and selecting only this particular OU. We will create one more OU for the computers, or you can select all the computers, let all the computers get synced with your Azure AD. So for the better practice, you can create another OU and move that usage to that particular OU for to sync that with Azure AD. As it's a test environment, I don't care. I am going to sync all my computers to Azure AD. Let me click on next. Let us go the default settings. There is nothing to be checked here. Let me click on next. So even if it says synchronize all users and devices, whatever you have selected in your sync in the previous step that will be taking here. Let's click on next. Here, if you required password write back, you can select this. So we should understand what is password write back. So let us ask Copilot what is password write back. What is password write back? So password write back is nothing but whatever changes you make in the Azure AD that will sync back to your on-premise. That is what password write back. But still, we will ask to Copilot to get more information about this. So password write-back is a feature that Azure AD Connect that allow password changes made in the Azure Active Directory to be returned back to your on-premise Active Directory. So that's what I said. Whatever changes you make in the Azure Active Directory, whatever changes you make in the cloud, that will write back to your on-premise. How it works: when a user changes or reset their password in the Azure AD, the new password is synchronized back to your on-premise in the real time. So if you required the changes to be synchronized back to your on-premise, you can select this. So when you select this, a bi-directional password sync will happen. Like whatever you make changes in the local Active Directory, that will sync to your cloud with password hash. Whatever changes you make in the cloud, in the Azure AD, that will write back to your on-premise also. So we are selecting both and I'm clicking on next. So understanding the concept is very important. Without knowing that, please do not do any tick marks or any configurations. So if you check this, start the synchronization process. When the configuration complete, it will start synchronizing then and there. So as it's a test environment, I don't have anything to be worried about. Whether it is sync or do not sync, I don't mind. But when it comes to your production environment, you have to be very careful here. But as you have selected a particular OU, there is nothing to be worried about. Only that particular OU will get synced to your Azure AD. So you can tick mark and click on install. So it may take some time. Now it is conferring the single sign-on. Updating the synchronization rules, configuring guardianvilla.com. Now the configuration completed successfully. There was no error. But recently, when I installed Microsoft Azure AD Connect on a production environment for a client, what happened? It was throwing me an error. It was not completing. It was throwing an error. So what I did, I just logged a ticket with Microsoft. So what they have recommended, we will have to enable TLS 1.2 for that this particular link they have shared to me. And what they did, they asked me to run this particular PowerShell script in that Azure AD Connect server. So you have to copy this and just run it. What it exactly does, it sets some TLS value in that. What this command will do, it will verify whether TLS 1.2 has been enabled or not. So for to do that, you can copy this command and run in the PowerShell. So it should show a value like this. System default TLS version should be 1. Sync user strong crypto should be 1. So this should be as it's shown in this particular figure. If not, what you have to do, you will have to run the second script to enable TLS 1.2. You have to copy and paste it, run in the Azure AD Connect server, and you will get this particular values on that server. So in my case, I haven't received any error. This was successful and it got synced. So that's it. Let me click on exit. Now the Azure AD Connect has been installed and configured successfully. John and Joseph. These are the two users that are synced from. So these are the two users that are synced from on-premise, Jojo and Joseph. John, Paul, and Joseph. These two users are synced from on premise. So we have successfully synced AD usage to cloud. If you check in the cloud, you could see that two users, John and Joseph, in the cloud. But there is an issue here. The suffix of that user shows a different value here. It doesn't show gardenvilla dot on Microsoft.com. You may remember while we configuring the Azure AD Connect, it was giving that UPN suffix was not detected properly because my on-premise ID is gardenvilla1.com and my cloud it is gardenvilla.com. So there is a mismatch. So uh, it is not synced in the proper way. How we can fix this issue? I have done it purposefully to show you how you can create a UPN suffix and do the syncing. So if both the domains are in the same name, then this issue will not occur at all. But to create that issue, I have created a separate name in the local Active Directory and separate in the cloud, and we got that error. So how we can fix that? To fix it, let us go to Active Directory domain and trust. Let me click on that, run as administrator, and right click on the Active Directory domain and trust. Right click and go to properties and add a suffix here. Yeah, right now I have added a suffix here in the name gardenvilla.com. In case if you have another domain, you want to add that suffix here, you will have to add it here like icg.com or something, whatever domain you have, you can add it here. So what happens when you before you sync that user. For example, I have two users here, Joseph and John Paul. I'm selecting that user that has to sync with your Azure AD. Right click, go to properties, come to account. Here you can select that UPN suffix. Once if you add it in the domain trust domain account trust, you can add it here. So what we do, we will we will delete this user from here. We will use this John Paul and Joseph from the cloud. Going to delete this. So both those users are gone from the cloud. Now we'll come back here and we have changed the suffix, the name of guardianvilla.com, apply, okay. We will do for the second user, come here, go to properties, go to account. Here you can select the next suffix, proper suffix and apply it. Normally, when you make a changes here, it may take 30 minutes to sync to your cloud. Sync it immediately. What you have to do, you will have to open a Windows PowerShell, just run as administrator and run this command. Start -AD sync cycle -policy type delta and enter. So the sync was successful. Now if you refresh it, you could see that particular user here. See, now if you check it out, yeah, you could see that two users here, Joseph and John Paul. If you check here, you could see now this is in john at gardenvilla.com. The proper suffix is there available. So this is the way, and if you check for the other user also, you could see that Joseph. Yes. So this is the way how you can sync usage to Azure AD. In our previous videos, we have seen about the prerequisites of Azure Administrator, manage identities and governance in Azure. Now in this video, let us get into a new module which is nothing but AC104 configure and manage virtual network for Azure Administrator. So in this module, we learn about the virtual network, its subnetting, public IP address. So all that we will be discussing in this particular module. So if you get into the Azure portal, from the home, you can get virtual network, or you can search here and search for virtual network, and both these will land on this particular page, virtual network. In my portal, you could see two virtual network. One is for DC-VNet and the other one is for Parivahan-VNet. and both these are in separate VNet and it cannot communicate each other unless we create a connection between these two VNet through peering or some other way. So let us create a virtual network. So let me click on create a virtual network. That will take you into this particular page. Here you have to give the subscription and resource group. So before creating a virtual network, let us understand what is this virtual network, why we required it, what all advantages we have, how we can plan it. All these let us discuss first before we create a virtual network. Azure Virtual Network are essential component. It is written here. It's a fundamental building block for a private network in Azure. If you required a private network in Azure, you required a virtual network. Without a virtual Azure Virtual Network or VNet, you cannot build a private network in Azure. They also allow different Azure resources to securely communicate with each other. We all know that network is the one which allow all the resources to communicate each other. The same with Azure. Here, whatever resources you have, you may be having a virtual. If you check my all resources, you could see a virtual machine. Let it load it. Here you could see different resources like database, disk, virtual machine, public IP address, network interface. It can be your database, storage. It can be the storage account. So whatever resources you have, if it want to communicate each other securely through internet or on-premise network, it required a virtual network. Suppose you work for a company in a healthcare industry. Your company is looking to migrate their on-premise infrastructure to Azure. In your healthcare industry, in your on-premise network, you do have database servers, application servers, domain controller, and many other servers in your on-premise. And you are looking to migrate these on-premise infrastructure to Azure, right? They want to ensure secure communication between their resources in Azure and their on-premise network. The company is also concerned about the scalability and availability. By using Azure Virtual Network, they can create a private network in Azure and securely connect the resources. So this is the relevance of Azure Network. So let's get back to the home and virtual networks, and let me click on create. A major incentive for adopting cloud solution like Azure is to enable information technology department to transition server resources to cloud. Moving resources to the cloud can save money and simplify administrative operations. Relocating your resources from on-premise to the cloud can remove the need to maintain an expensive data center with uninterruptible power supplies, generators, multiple fail safes, clustered database servers. So if you are maintaining a data center, you will have to maintain all this. But if you migrate these resources to Azure, it simplifies all these. So before we do anything, let us create a test virtual network and see what all things you require to create it, how we can create a virtual network. All right. So let's select, I have clicked on the create virtual. Let me start from the beginning. I just come to the virtual network. You can get it from the home or you can search it from on the search bar. And once you land over here, you can create one. You have to give it the subscription name. Here you have to provide the resource group. If you want to put it in a separate resource group, you can create a new resource group here and add it that there. I want to put this virtual network in the stellar new resource group. Here you can give a virtual network name. You can give some meaningful name for the virtual network. Here I provide it as VNet Lab 1. I give the virtual network name as VNet Lab 1. The region I select as West Europe. Let me click on next for the IP address. So once you reach on IP address, now you have option to add subnet, and here there is a message. This address prefix overlaps with the virtual network parivahan-vnet. If you need to peer this virtual network, change the address space. So here you have to understand about the subnet. Let us try to understand with this Word document. A subnet is basically a smaller or segmented portion of larger network. In our context of Azure Virtual Network, when we create a VNet, you define a big IP address range. For example, 10.0.0.0/66. Here, if you check it out, you could see a large IP address pool. It is having almost 65,536 addresses. It has further sliced into a subnet which is only having 256 IP addresses, which start from 10.0.0.0 to 256, and it is allocated for this Parivahan VNet, some other network. So for us, let us create another subnet. So if you check it out, as we have given /24, we get almost 256 IP addresses. So in your case, if you do not require such 256 IP address, if you require only some 30 IP address or some 10 IP address, in that case you can slice it as you require. For example, now we are going to create a subnet. So we are going to create a add subnet. We are going to add a subnet. So here, the first thing, what is a subnet purpose? For what purpose you create the subnet? You have option like default, Azure Bastion, Azure Firewall, Firewall Management, Virtual Network, Route Server. There is a dedicated subnet for Azure Bastion, dedicated subnet for Azure Firewall, Firewall Management, Virtual Network, and Route Server. So in our purpose, if you are using for the general purpose, you have to select default. So there is a dedicated subnet for Azure Bastion, Azure Firewall, and all these. If you are using for general purpose, you can select default, and you can name the default what purpose you use it. In our case, we use the subnet for lab purpose, so we name it as subnet lab. So our IP address, IPv4 range is from, which is this pool, which is a large pool that is defined by default. Default they give /16 a large pool. You can further slice it down. As it is already taken from 0.0 to 255, the first 256 IP address, it is already given for some other VNet. Now the next starting is from 1.0. 1.0. You can select /24, which means you get almost 256 IP address. If you do not require /24 IP addresses, then you can go with, you can further slice it down. If you want required only 16 IP address or 8 IP address, you can select it here accordingly. For example, I required only some 16 IP address, then I select /28. So I get the IP address between 1.0 to 1.15, and I'm going to add that. So I got a separate, we have created a separate subnet here, subnet-lab, and it has some 16 IP addresses. Before moving further, let us just read the theory part of given in the document about create subnet. They have given a video over here to for the better understanding. Things to know about the subnet. There are certain conditions for the IP address in virtual network when you apply the segmentation with subnet. Each subnet contains a range of IP address that fall within the virtual network IP address space. The IP address for the subnet must be unique within the address space for the virtual network. The range for the one subnet can overlap with the other subnet IP address range with same virtual network. And here you can see some segmentations that is given over here. There are certain reserved addresses. For each subnet, Azure reserves 5 IP addresses. For each subnet, Azure reserves 5 IP addresses. The first 4 addresses and the last addresses are reserved. So let us examine this particular range. So in that, the first one, which is 1.0, this value identifies the virtual network address, and 1.1 Azure configures this address as the default gateway. 1.1 will be for the default gateway. 1.2 and 1.3 are for DNS IP address to the virtual network space, and the last IP address 1.255. This value supplies the virtual network broadcast addresses. So each subnet Azure reserves 5 IP addresses. So these are some theoretical part which you should know about before moving forward. Let me just click on next and review and create it. So validation passed. Let me create it. All right, the VNet has been created. Let me go back to the resources. So here under VNet, you could see a new VNet over here, and it is under the resource group Stellar New, and this is the address space. If you come here, you could see the subnet, which is subnet.lab. You get 511 IP address. Available IPs are only 11. We have 16, but 5 is reserved. That's the reason why you get only 5 available IP addresses. Let me again go back to the home and virtual network. Yes, here you could see the newly created. The other question comes in our mind: does the cost involved in this virtual network? While we create a virtual network, does it cost anything in Azure? There can be costs associated with the Azure Virtual Network, but just creating a basic VNet without extra services is usually free. For example, VNet itself is free. Whatever VNet you are creating here, it is free of cost. Subnet inside the VNet is free. We have created certain subnet here inside this VNet, that also is free. Whatever subnet you see here, it is free of cost. Then private IP assigned to the VM is free. Network security group that we learn in further, that also is free. So where the cost is involving, components that do cost. So where the cost is involving, when we are VNet peering, connecting two VNet together has a small cost per GB traffic. If you are connecting two VNet, consider you have two different VNets here. If you are connecting these two VNet together, then through VNet peering, then the cost involves the then VPN gateway required for connecting Azure VNet to on-premise network. If you are creating some VPN gateway, yes, it is cost is involved in that. If you are using Express route dedicated for private connection to Azure, then you can use Express route. Then the cost is involved in that. Then if you are using public IP address, if you assign a static or public IP address to a VM or load balancer, when it comes to a public IP address, cost is involved in that. Azure firewall or network virtual appliances, yes, cost is involved. Then data transfer cost. Inbound data to Azure usually free, but outbound data are charged per GB. So these are the areas where cost is involved related to virtual network. While creating a virtual network like this, cost is not involved in that. You can create the virtual network, you can create the subnet, cost is not involved. But when we are creating a site to site VPN, for that you are creating a virtual gateway. When you are doing all that, cost is involved. That's it. In this video, we are into creating the public IP address. What is public IP address, how we can create it, how we can associate with that resources, and what is the difference between dynamic and static IP, public IP address, how it behaves. All that we will be seeing in this particular video. In the documentation, it starts from creating the public IP address, and so much theory is given over here. We will directly get into the practical. We will create a public IP address, and all this theory we will discuss while creating the public IP address. We are in the Azure portal, and here we can create the public IP address in two ways. Either you can search in the search bar for public IP address, select this, and here you can create a public IP address. While creating the public IP address, it will be an independent, it will be independent. It won't be associated with any resources. So in this way, you can create an public IP address, or while creating a resources. For example, when you are creating a virtual machine, then and there you have an option to create the public IP address that will be automatically will be associated with that virtual machine. We will see both the way how to create the public IP address, both the way of creating the public IP address and associate and disassociated that with any resources. Let's independently create a public IP address and associate that with any resources. I'm going to create a public IP address here. Let me click on create. Here you have to select the resource group and the subscription resource group and region, and you will have to name the public IP address. So here in the theory they have mentioned that enter the name to identify the IP address. You can give any name here to identify this IP address, but the things that you remember that the name must be unique which within the resource group you select. In this resource group, it should be unique. There should not be any other public IP address with the same name. For example, if you are giving lab public IP, then this name should not be there for any other public IP address in this resource group. This is what mentioned in this particular line. And here you have an option SKU. Select the SKU. SKU of the public IP address including basic or standard. The value must match SKU of the Azure load balancer with the which address is used. By default, here you can see only standard. Presently, you won't be able to see any basics. So I just checked in the documentation they have given, there can be basic, including basic and standard. But while creating now, I could see only standard. So I search it in the Google why it shows only the standard. So the answer is that basic SKU public IP address retirement. It is already got retired. Presently, there is no basic SKU. It is there, but they are planning to retire it in on 13 September 2025. Basic SKU public IP address will be retired in Azure. You can continue using existing basic SKU public IP address until then. However, will no longer be able to create a new one after 31st March 2025. This is already given in their official document. They are asking us to upgrade basic public IP address to standard SKU in Azure. And how you can do that, they have given in their official documentation. Here in the documentation, they have discussed the difference between the features of basic SKU and standard SKU. As the basic SKU doesn't remain as of now, we will discuss only about standard SKU. IP assignment will be static. If you check it out here, as we are in the see IP assignment, there is no dynamic option is not there. Dynamic option was there only with the basic SKU. With the standard SKU, we have only static. This document they have mentioned IP assignment will be static for standard. Basic, it can be static or dynamic. And security, secure by default, close to inbound traffic. Resources, network interface, VPN gateways, network interface or public standard load balancer. Resources, it can be network interfaces or public standard load balancers. Redundancy, zone redundant by default. These are the features of standard SKU given in the documentation. All right, let's proceed further by creating the public IP address. Availability zone, it can be zone redundant, no zone or zone redundant. Regional and global options are here. Standards queue, we do not have an option for dynamic. Routing preference, Microsoft Network or Internet, we select it as Microsoft Network, and we select all other options as it is, and review and create it. So review is going on. It is validating it, and validation got passed. Now I'm going to create an IP, public IP address. It got created right now. Let us go back to the resources. Here you could see the public IP in the name of lab PIP, and this is the IP address. It is not associated to none of the devices. So what we can do, we can go back to the virtual machine. What I will do, I will go back to one of the virtual machine, and here you could see a virtual machine in the name of Parivahan. What I will do, I will disassociate its public IP address and will associate newly created public IP address with this virtual machine. Here you could see a public IP address that is associated with this virtual machine. So what I am going to do, I will disassociate this public IP address and will associate our newly created public IP. How we can do that? Let us see. Let us see, here you have an option to disassociate it. So I am going to disassociate it. Let me click on yes. So what happened? This public IP address will be detached, will be disassociated with this virtual machine. Now this virtual machine will not have any public IP address. If you refresh it, if you go back to the virtual machine, Parivahan, and if you check it, you could not see any of the public IP address here. Now let us associate the newly created public IP with this virtual machine. For that, you can go to the public IP address. Let me just go to the public IP address, and let me select the lab public IP address which I created, and here you have the option to associate it. Let me click on associate. Resource type is network interface of that particular virtual machine, network NIC card. We are going to associate with the network interface, with the NIC card of that virtual machine. Let us collect the network interface card details. Let me go here to the virtual machine, here in the network settings. So this is the network interface of this particular virtual machine, Parivahan 232 underscore Z1 primary. So let us go here and select for that. The issue was with the not with the resource group, issue was with the location. The public IP address which we created was in the location of West Europe, and our virtual machine Parivahan hyphen is in Central India. That's the reason why we were not able to associate that with the Parivahan IP. So this time we will create a public IP address on the Central India location, and let's try to associate it. I just click on create, and here instead of region West Europe, I select it as Central India. I select the region as Central India and name it as same like lab and lab PIP, lab public IP address, and all the other things we remain as it is, and let us review and create it. Validation passed. Let me create it again. So the deployment is in progress. The public IP address has been created. Now let's go back to the resource. Here you could see the resource group, location, SKU, IP address, all that you could see here. We are going to associate this particular public IP with the virtual machine Parivahan. We had removed the public IP address from that virtual machine. Now we are associating this public IP address with that virtual machine. Let me select on associate, and here we are associated with the network interface. If you check it out, here now you can see Parivahan 232 underscore Z1. This is the network interface of this machine, Parivahan. So we are associating that with Parivahan. Click on OK. It got saved. So it can be in any resource group, but it should be in the same location. If it is in a different location, you cannot associate resources. If the resource in one region and public IP address created in other region, then you cannot associate the resource with the public IP address. We learned that now. Let's go back to the virtual machine and see it. So we go to the Parivahan virtual machine. Here you could see the public IP address now, which is newly created lab PIP. Yes. So in this way, you can associate and disassociate the public IP address to any resources. The other way of using public IP address is that you can create the resource, and while creating the resource, for example, if you are creating a virtual machine, while creating the virtual machine itself, you can associate the public IP. For example, when I am creating a create virtual machine here, while I come to this tab networking, here you can uh, either associate or you can create a new one and associate that with that resource while creating the virtual machine itself. These are the two ways of associating a public IP address with any resources. All right, let's go back to the document and let's see have we missed something. IP address assignment, and there are two type of IP address: dynamic IP address and static IP address. Dynamic address are assigned after public IP address is associated to an Azure resource and is started for the first time. Dynamic address can be changed if the resource such as virtual machine is stopped in the case, deallocated and restarted through Azure. Then dynamic address can change. The address remains the same if the virtual machine is rebooted or stopped from the guest OS. From the inside the virtual machine as an OS like this, when you restart the machine, guest OS, if you are restarting, you don't lose the dynamic address. But from here, from the Azure portal, if you are deallocating or stopping the virtual machine, it may lose the public IP address if you are giving us dynamic address. Static address are assigned when public IP address is created. Static address are not released until public address resource is deleted. Unless we delete that, it will not be released. If the address is not associated to the resource, you can change the assignment method after the address is created. That's all about static and dynamic. We do not have to think about dynamic now because presently we have only standards queue. Standards queue automatically provide us the static address. So from September 13th onwards, we have only standards queue. So we will have, while creating the virtual machine or while creating the public address, it automatically taken as static. That is what this document says. I provide these details as 17/8/2025 in August 17th. It may have changes in the future, but as of now, basic public IP address they are discontinued on. They have discontinued it. They have retired it, and we think they provide only standards queue, and standards queue is only having static IP. Now a question arises in our mind: does the cost involved in creating public IP address in Azure? The answer is yes. Creating public IP address in Azure does involve cost, but it depends upon the SKU, whether it is standard or basic. But the cost again depends upon the SKU, standard or basic, or the IP type, whether it is static or dynamic, and how long it's allocated. According to that, cost also vary. If it is dynamic IP, which is only with basis queue, which is discontinued now, free while not associate but charged when bound to a resource. But this option you can ignore it because presently the basis queue option is retired in Microsoft as per their official document. Standard IP always build as long as it is reserved, even if it is not in use. Static IP is reserved IP. That is the reason it is always built as long as it is reserved, even if it is not in use. In today's video, we discuss about network security group. We lay network security group through the help of practical in Azure portal, and we will be covering all this theory while doing the practical session in the Azure portal. First of all, let us search for the network security group in the Azure portal. For that, I search network security groups. So here you could see network security group. Let me click on that. In my tenant, you could see a lot of NSG here. like DC1-NSG, Exchange Server-SG, Lab NSG, and Parivaha NSG, Test VM NSG, and you could see nearly 5 NSG group here. Actually, this is not the right practice. What I have done, when I create a virtual machine, I create separate NSG for each virtual machine. This is not the right practice, as it is a test environment and we create the virtual machine for different purpose. I create NSG along with the virtual machine. But when it comes to the production environment, it is not the right practice to create NSG separately for each VM, each resources. Rather, we create an NSG and apply it to the subnet. Then it get applied to the resources in that subnet. So that would be the right practice to use network security group. All right. Before we create a network security group, let us understand the definition of network security group. What does it mean by, what is the definition of network security group? Network security groups are a way to limit network traffic to resources in your virtual network. Network security group contains a list of security rules that allow or deny inbound and outbound network traffic. So this is the definition given in the documentation related to network security group. It can be similar to the firewall, but we cannot compare network security group and firewall. Firewall has got a lot of features, but where network has very limited features. But in a way, you can say it is similar to network firewall. A network security group in Azure is a security filter that controls inbound and outbound traffic to the Azure resources. Even firewall also does the inbound outbound traffic to our network. The same way, network security group does a security filter between inbound and outbound traffic to the Azure resources. Here it is Azure resources such as virtual machine, subnet, using a set of allow and deny rules based on the source, destination, port, and protocol. So according to the allow and deny rule that has set in the NSG, network security group, we filter the security inbound, outbound traffic to the Azure resources. That's the reason why I said it can be compared to the firewall, but in fact, firewall has got a lot of features. We can never compare a network security group with Azure firewall, but ultimately what both of them does is the same thing. That controls the inbound outbound traffic. So that is what the definition of network security group. Now let us create a network security group and understand more about it. So let us create a network security group. For that, I click on create button here. Here you have the option to select the subscription and resource group. I select it in under Stellar new resource group and I name it like lab nsg2 because we already have a lab nsg1, so I created 2. Region I select as West Europe. Next we go to tags. If you want to tag it, you can tag that, review and create it. So I'm going to click on create. NSG has been created now. Let me go to resources. So this is the NSG that we created just now. And here you have the option to attach it with a network interface, with a NIC or with a subnet. Here you can associate with any of the virtual machine NIC or with any subnet. So presently what I do, I am going to attach this particular NSG with the subnet. So here we have the option to associate it. I click on associate. It load the virtual network and the subnet. If you select this particular virtual network, it load its own subnet. I want to associate with DC1 VNet and the default subnet. Let me click on OK. So what happened? This particular NSG has got associate with default subnet of DC virtual network VNet. Let me go to the virtual machine that comes under this particular subnet. So I go to the virtual machine and here I could see DC1. This machine is under that particular VNet and the subnet. So you could see the private IP address here. So if you go to the networking and network setting, now I am in the DC1 network setting. Here you could see the network security group that we have attached right now to the subnet default that even got attached to this particular DC1. Apart from that, you could see one more network security group that is attached to the network interface card, to the NIC of this particular DC. One more NSG has been attached. This got attached while creating this particular VM. Apart from that, we have attached now from the subnet. Two NSG has been attached to the same resource. So how it is going to work? Which one get take precedence? So all that let us see as of now. Before that, let us just see some of the theoretical part that is given in the document. Things to know about network security group. A network security groups contain a list of security rules that allow, deny inbound and outbound network traffic. As we know, network security group contains a list of security rules that allow or deny, either it allow some security rule or it deny inbound or outbound network traffic. So here you could see some of the default rules, and which is grayed out here. We cannot even delete or edit these default rules. 65,000 to 65,500, both for the inbound and outbound. We have some default security rules. Network security group can be associated to subnet and interface. We already discussed a network NSG group can be associated to a subnet, either to a subnet and or a network interface. Next point is network security group can be associated multiple times. You create a network security group and define security rule in the Azure portal, so that those things are mentioned. Let's go back to the portal. Now I'm going to turn on this particular VM. NSG that associate with the NIC card, we have written a RDB rule which allow the RDB access to this particular VM. And in this newly created NSG and associate attached to the subnet, we do not have any rules for the RDB. Now let us start the machine and try to take the machine RDB and see whether we are able to get the RDB of this particular VM. This is the public IP address. Let me start this machine first and copy this. Let the machine get started first. Starting the virtual machine. Let's wait for that. Yeah, the machine got started now. So let me just try to take the RDP here, whether I'm able to take RDB of this particular VM. Yeah. Now this is not allowing us to access the VM through remote session. So this is not allowing us to take the system remote because we do not have a rule here for to take the RDB in this subnet level. So card level, yes, it is allowed, but in the subnet, when it reached to the subnet, we do not have a rule to allow the RDB. So NSG processing network security group processing logic. Both subnet and NSG and NIC NSG are evaluated. When you have associated the NSG to the resources from the subnet and from the NIC, so both are evaluated. Traffic must be allowed from both for it to pass. It should be allowed from both. It should be allowed from the NSG level and even in the NIC card level to allow the traffic. If either denies, if any one of them it denies, the packets are blocked. That's the reason why we were not able to take the RDB. So what we have to do, we have to create a port rule. So let me create a port rule in this particular NSG. So let me click on create a port rule. We are creating an inbound port rule. Source should be any, let us keep it any. And service we select as RDB and action is allow. Priority is 100. The highest priority is 100. You can keep the other priority number here. I button, it gives us more details. Rules are processed in priority order. The lower number, the higher priority, which means 100 is the highest priority. We recommend leaving gaps between rules 100, 200, 300, etc. So that is easier to add new rules without having to edit existing rules. So 100 is the highest priority, and we are going to create an inbound rule for the RDB now. Let me click on add. Say a new rule has been created now where we allow the RDB. Now if you have other rule here which the priority number is 200, and if you are denying it till the first one, priority number 100 will take precedence. because 100 is having high precedence. So if you are creating a new rule here with the priority 200, priority number 200, and if you are denying the RDB access, still this will take the precedence. This is just for your understanding. Okay, let us take the RDB now. MSTSC. This is the public IP. Let me click on connect. This time it should allow us to take the RDB. Yes, now we got the option to, we got the RDB of this machine. So this is the way how NSG group works, and this is all about the rules which we create. Now the other question arises in our mind, does any cost involved with this NSG? So the answer is, in Azure, a network security group itself does not incur any cost. If you are created a network security group itself, it does not incur any cost. However, NSG creation can be indirectly depending on how you use them. If you enable NSG flow logs for traffic analysis, you will incur cost for storage account, Azure Monitor and Log Analytics. But if your NSG creation usage are free, you can create, associate and manage NSG without being billed directly. In summary, NSG is free. NSG flow log plus monitoring is paid for storage and analytic cost. So that is all about network security group. What I suggest, create a network security group and create the rules and check, do all the practical experiments on the test environment and learn more about network security group. Virtual network peering. Azure Virtual Network Peering let you connect virtual network in the same or different regions. Azure Virtual Network Peering provides secure communication between resources in the peered network. As you all know, the resources in the same VNet will be able to communicate each other. For example, here, all the resources in VNet 1 will be able to communicate each other without peering. If there are many virtual machines in this VNet 01, all that will be able to communicate each other without any peering. But when it comes to a different VNet, VNet 02, if the resources in VNet 01 and VNet 02, if it has to communicate each other securely, then we should have to enable peering. How to enable peering, or what are the different types of peering, all that we will be seeing in this video. In my lab environment, I do have 3 virtual machines, DC1, Indian VM and Mail Server 1. DC1 and Mail Server 1 both are in the same resource group and both are in the same VNet. But in the case of Indian VM, this is in different region and at the same time this is in different VNet. So by default, DC1 and Mail Server will be able to communicate each other. First we will check that whether DC1 and Mail Server 1 without any peering will it be able to communicate each other. For that, let me just click on DC1. Alright, so this is the overview of DC1. The private IP address is 10.0.0.4 and this is part of DC1 VNet and the subnet is default. When we check the other virtual machine, Mail Server 1, it is having the IP address 10.0.0.5. It is in the same VNet and the subnet is default, the same subnet. So if you just log into the server, this is the server DC1. If you check the IP config, it is 10.0.0.4. So if I am trying to take the RDB of 10.0.0.5, let's see whether we are able to take the remotes. It is 10.0.0.5, which is mail server, email server 1. So I'm just accessing it. I'm able to access it without any peering. But in the case of the other machine, we do have a third machine here, which is Indian VM. This particular machine is in different private IP. It is in different virtual network and different subnet, and the IP is 10.1.0.4. Let's try to take the remote of this machine. The IP address is 10.1.0.4. Let me try to connect it. By default, we will not be able to connect a VM, a resource that is in different virtual network. So this I won't be able to access it.
Let's see. So for that, let me go back to the Azure portal. Right now, let me search for VNet. So here we have the virtual networks. We have two virtual networks. One is in DC1-VNet, other one Indian VM VNet. If you check on the first one, DC1 VNet, if you go to the connected devices, here you could see the network interface of both the virtual machines, DC1 and mail server. When we go back to the other virtual network, Indian VM, and go to the connected devices, you could see the network interface of Indian VM, the third VM, and these are not connected each other. Presently, both are not able to communicate each other. So what we will do, we will create a peering. For that, let me click on the first VNet, and here in the left hand side we have an option here for peering. So let me click on peering, and on the top we have an option to add it. Let me click on add. We have to create a peering link name, remote peering link name. I'm going to give the link name as DC1 in Europe. So Europe, I just name it as Europe to India. And virtual network deployment model is resource manager. Subscription, you select the subscription. Here you have to select the virtual network. Virtual network of, see we are in DC1, so DC1 act as a remote virtual network. So we select the other one, Indian VM VNet. Allow Indian VNet to access DC1 VNet. Only this has to be ticked. Local network, we gave it again the same, India to Europe. And again, allow DC1 VNet to access Indian VM VNet. Let me click on add. So it is creating the virtual network peering between both the VNet. Let's wait till it get completed. The configuration and creation is going on in the background. Yep, both got created. If you refresh it, we could see, when we refresh it, we could be able to see the peering sync status is fully synchronized and peering it is connected. Now if you go back to the server and try to access 10.1.0.4, which is the VM which is located in central India. So let us try to access it now. After creating the peering, let me click on connect. Yeah, it is asking for the user ID and password, and I'm giving the password here. Yes, we are able to connect the machine which is located in India. We are taking the remote of that particular virtual machine. So from the machine which is located in Europe and which is in different VNet, we have created the peering, and through the peering we are able to connect the machine which is in the different region and different VNet. So this is the way how you can create and configure peering, VNet peering. Let's see a little more theory about VNet peering. The virtual network peering enable you to seamlessly connect two Azure virtual networks. After the networks are peered, the two virtual networks operate as a single network for connectivity purposes. There are two types of Azure virtual network peering. First one is regional and the other one is global. Just now we have seen how to create the global Azure virtual network peering. The other one is regional peering. So let us try to understand with the help of this picture. Here in this picture, we do have region 1 and region 2, and we have a virtual network in the region 1 and virtual network 2 and 3 in region 2. To communicate these two virtual networks, we can create a virtual network peering in between the region. So this is called a regional network peering. If it was to communicate to the other region, which is virtual network 1, then we have to create a global virtual network peering. Both these virtual networks will be able to communicate each other. There are certain things to consider when using Azure Virtual Network Peering. First one is private network connection. When you implement Azure Virtual Network Peering, network traffic between peer virtual network is private. So benefit is it is private network connections. Traffic between the virtual network is kept on Microsoft Azure backbone network. No public internet, gateways, or encryption is required in the communication between this virtual network. As we have the virtual network here, if you have paired it, it is a private network connection. No public internet or gateway or encryption is required for the communication between these virtual networks. This is the thing which you have to remember. And the other thing is strong performance. Because Azure network peering utilizes an Azure infrastructure, you gain low latency, high bandwidth connection between resources in different virtual networks. So we get strong performance, simplified communication, seamless data transfer, no resource disruption. So these are the benefits and things to consider when you're using Azure network peering. The other thing that we have to understand is that virtual network peering is non-transitive, which means A and B is connected and B and C is connected. It doesn't mean that A and C can communicate each other. That's what written here. If A and B is paired and B and C is paired, in that case A cannot communicate to C. This is an overall idea about configuring Azure Virtual Network peering. In this document, they have given more theoretical area and some more detail they have explained it here. You can go through with this official documentation. And at last, they have given some exercise to be done. Even I suggest to create and do more experiments related to the VNet and VNet peering so that you will get more clarity on VNet peering. So that's it. Thanks for watching this video. We will meet in the other video. Till then, goodbye.